Hello and welcome. My name is Terry White, Worldwide Design Evangelist for Adobe Systems, and it's my pleasure to walk you through your first look at the brand new Adobe InDesign CC, and more importantly, my top 5 favorite features. So let's start with my favorite feature, and this is kind of one that could easily go underappreciated because it's kind of one of those things that it's in the background. It just happened. You really, won't really see the benefit of it until you start using InDesign, and it's just faster. And then, of course, with speed, we get accustomed to speed and we kind of forget about it. And that is InDesign CC is a complete rewrite from the ground up. And I'm very pleased to announce it's now 64-bit. It has the same dark user interface as Photoshop, Illustrator, and the video products from Adobe. And it's Retina display supported on Macs, so people that complain, hey, I got this new Retina display Mac and InDesign doesn't look great, it will now look great on your Retina display. So again, that's all under the hood stuff, but we see performance gains throughout InDesign over previous versions all the way throughout the program. So it's great to have this now be a 64-bit application and to kind of look and feel like the rest of the Adobe products. So that's my number one top 5 favorite feature. And I know it's kind of one of those, well, you didn't show anything. And that's because it's all under the hood. But I will show you this. Let's go to Preferences. Let's go to Interface. And in Interface, this is where you can control the darkness. So for example, it starts off with medium dark as a preset. If you want to make it darker even, you can make it darker. Or if you want to go back to the way InDesign used to look, you can do that as well. So, okay, I'll give you that. That is your ability to go in and actually see something that I've just talked about, and that is the new dark UI. But again, just great to have these enhancements in InDesign. It's been a long time coming, and I couldn't wait. Couldn't be happier. All right, so number 2, and that is what happens when you create a new document. So in the past, when you created a new document, you kind of had to either live with the presets or key in your own settings. But if you keyed in your own settings, what would that really mean if you didn't really know what the size was? So for example, if I'm kind of estimating, I kind of want a 4-inch width by maybe a 7.5-inch height. I don't know if that's really going to look big enough. So now, for the first time, InDesign CC has a preview for the new document setup. So when you choose preview, you can actually see what your document's gonna look like. So if you're gonna put in your columns, you can see what that looks like. You can see what all your settings look like before you actually commit to it and click OK. If you wanna change something, change it, see what it looks like, then click OK. So kind of one of those hidden things. Most people will never expect to go down there and click on preview, but now preview is a part of InDesign CC. So that was number 2. Number 3. And number 3 is probably the one you're going to use every day, day in and day out. And that is when you're dealing with text. So I'm going to grab my type tool. I'm going to highlight the type, just some type on the page here. And of course, as you would expect, it tells me what font that type is in. But here's what's new. We now have the ability to use the brand new font menu inside InDesign CC. So I can go in and I can see right off the bat at the top my most recently used fonts. And secondly, the fonts are now grouped by their styles. So I no longer have to scroll down this list that's a mile long looking at every single style of, for example, Arial. I could just twirl it down, get to the styles I need. Now you'll notice that there are some stars next to these. I'm going to get to those in a moment. But before we do the stars, here's the one that's really killer. Let me get out of this for a minute. And, we've been able to search for fonts in the past, but what we haven't really been good at is searching for beyond just the name. So if I want to see all my bold fonts, show me anything with the word bold in it. And it will basically let me quickly get to all my bold fonts. Maybe bold's too broad of a category. Do I have any heavy fonts? Show me all the ones that have heavy styles. And I can quickly and easily get to those. So search, I'm going to be using that a lot. And again, we see the samples. We see what style, what type of font it is, open type, type 1 and true type. So we know which ones to use. And more importantly, let's get back to the whole list. And let's say that I use Warnock Pro a lot. So I'll star that one. And I know there's a couple of others I use a lot. For example, I use BiCMScript Pro quite a bit, and I use Myriad Pro quite a bit. So what I'm doing is I'm going through and finding the fonts that I use all the time, and I'm just clicking the little star in front of them. And what that allows me to do, and here, let's do one more. Let's do, although it's not one I use all the time, but let's say Prestige. Actually, Rockwell. Let's use Rockwell instead. And now what I can do is click out of the menu. Let's say I want to grab one of my favorite fonts. Well, I can just go ahead and say, only show me my favorites. Quickly and easily, show me just the ones I like to use all the time. And I can, again, twirl them down to get to the various styles. But that shortens my font menu and shortens that list of choices to just the ones I like to use the most, or for a particular client. So great to have the ability to say show favorites whenever I need to not see the mile-long list of fonts and just get to the ones I want. So lots of enhancements in the font menu. And again, that's an everyday feature. We're always choosing fonts in InDesign. So it'll be great to have that capability. All right, so that was number 3. What's number 4? Number 4 is kind of one of those cool things that you may not use it every day, but when you need it, it's going to come in really handy. And so what the customer wants in this case, let's zoom in on it. They want to be able to put a QR code on their document. And of course, there are ways to go out and generate a QR code and make an image and download it from a site and place it. But if you could do it built right in, why wouldn't you? So let's go ahead and select this frame. And we can either right-click on it or do it from the object menu. I'm going to right-click and say Generate QR Code. Brand new feature in InDesign CC, built right in. So when I say Generate QR Code, I can choose a plain text one, so they can scan it and they just get the text. I can choose a web hyperlink, which is the one we're going to use. That's the one people use the most often. It can be a text message. I can put in my phone number or the client's phone number and whatever message I want the customer to send when they scan it. Email. So again, I can have the QR code generate an email and the person can send it saying, hey, they want more information. And it goes to our sales staff. Or a business card. And this is kind of cool because once you generate all this information for your business card, when they scan it, they can actually add your business card to their contacts. So I'm going to go back to web hyperlink and I'm just going to go ahead and paste in a URL I had on the clipboard there. And of course, I get to style it. I get to choose whatever color I want it to be in. I can use my swatches, of course. Click OK, and it has generated a QR code. Now, what's cool about this QR code, it's completely vector. So if I launch the brand new Illustrator CC, and let's go ahead and create a quick document here. And we'll just use, let's use the defaults. So there's my document. Head back to InDesign. I can now copy that QR code and go here and paste it. And when I zoom in on it, we can see that these are all the, oh, I did it in white, of course. let's paste it again and let's change the color. White on white, for those of you who have never done this before, it doesn't really show up that well. Okay, but anyway, here are all the vectors. So it's not doing something weird. It's actually generating a high resolution vector, or actually resolution independent vector image that can be scaled to any size you want or used in other applications. So now InDesign can be your QR code reader. And if you're displaying this video, you can actually hold up your phone to it right now and scan that QR code. All right, let's head back to InDesign. And what if you needed to edit it? Well, you can right-click on it and you can go to Edit QR Code to get right back to the settings and make changes as needed. So QR codes, my number 4 favorite feature inside InDesign CC. So now let's get to number 5. And that revolves around the enhancements around EPUB. So EPUB, as you know, is a book format primarily. It's a format for electronic book distribution. So people are making EPUBs out of InDesign more and more every day. So of course, more and more every day when we work with InDesign, we want more features. We want our EPUBs to be better. Now, one of the cool things about EPUB export from InDesign CC is that if you've styled your document with, of course, a table of contents, and there's the table of contents, and you've done, here's the new one, an index, because InDesign has supported automatic index generation for years, but the index was never really automatically part of your EPUB. Now it can be. So when you file export, there's nothing special you have to do. You just choose EPUB, save it out, choose all your other options that you want to style this with, how you want to control your images, any advanced settings that you want to do, and it will automatically generate the index from your InDesign index. So if I head over to a desktop reader I've got here, here's the EPUB version of this same booklet, and we can go through the pages here. And if I get to the end, there is my index. So I can click and it jumps to that spot in the document. So it didn't have to do any extra work, just made the index just like I would for the printed version, but now it's automatically hyperlinked as part of my EPUB when I do my EPUB export. So those are my top 5 favorite features in the brand new InDesign CC. Head over to adobe.com/Creative Cloud and check out InDesign CC along with the other Creative Cloud applications and do a trial or go ahead and sign up. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.